regular board meeting for January 21st, 2021. The Norwood City School District Board of Education follows a bi-monthly meeting schedule. The first meeting of the month is called our committee meeting. This meeting, we discuss fully our agenda for the board meeting to be held the third Thursday of each month. As board members, we encourage you to attend, watch, and listen to our committee discussions, which results in action at the board meetings. For full disclosure, our committee meetings and board meetings are always announced, video and audio taped, as well as posted to our webpage for your view. All of our meetings are public and visitors are always welcome. Mrs. Camphouse, please call the roll.
Mr. Atwood.
Present.
Ms. Ballard.
Present.
Mrs. Cole.
Present.
Mrs. Raber.
Present.
Mrs. Rarica.
Present.
I would ask to everyone, please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge
Pledge
allegiance
allegiance to the flag
of
of the United States
of America,
and to the republic
for
which is
stands one
a
nation
nation under God, indivisible,
with
liberty
and justice for all.
All right, we'll move down to item 1.04, which is the adoption of tonight's agenda. I would like to make a motion that we amend our agenda and move section 8 to right before section 3. So I want to move the hearing of the public to right before the Education Committee report. There is one email that we received in our public email box that I think pertains to the discussion in section 3. And I'd like to have that read before we have the Education Committee report. Can I get a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion on this? Mrs. Camphouse, please call the roll.
Mr. Atwood.
Yes.
Ms. Ballard.
Yes.
Mrs. Cole.
You not hear me again?
And now I can. Yes, thank you.
Okay. Okay.
Mrs. Raber
yes.
and Mrs. Rarica.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right. Items 1.05 through 1.10. These are all approving the minutes of our previous meetings. 1.05 is the regular meeting from December 17th. 1.06 is the commission hearing from January 12th. 1.07 is the TAC budget hearing from January 12th. 1.08 is the organizational meeting from January 12th. 1.09 is the committee meeting from January 12th. And 1.10 is the special meeting from January 12th. I'd like to make a motion that we approve the minutes from 1.05 to 1.10.
I'll second.
Any discussion on these minutes? Mrs. Camphouse, please call the roll.
Mr. Atwood.
Yes.
Ms. Ballard.
Yes.
Mrs. Cole.
Yes.
Mrs. Raber.
Yes.
Mrs. Rarica.
Yes.
Thank you all. We'll move down to section number 2, which is presentations for tonight's meeting. And 2.01 is Board Appreciation Month, and I'd like to pass this over to Superintendent Ronan.
Thank you, President Atwood. Yes, January is School Board Recognition Month. So we want to show our appreciation to our great school board members here in Norwood. You exemplify local citizen control and decision-making in education. You volunteer hundreds of hours and an incredible amount of energy to ensure that Norwood schools are providing the best education possible for our children. You know, and too often I feel we neglect to recognize the dedication and hard work that all of you put into the job. So the staff and students of our school district are asking all local citizens to take a moment to tell our school board members, thanks for caring about our children's education. So thank you to the dedicated men and women who make it possible for local citizens to have a say about education in our community. We salute you, the Norwood City School District School Board, before making local control of our public schools and our community possible. So in appreciation, the students in Miss Burton's art class at Sharpsburg would like to present you with a token of thanks for helping our district become incredible. Now, I know that we delivered a present to your home, so if you haven't opened it yet, you can now. And oh, there, I think President Atwood's taking a look at it. Open it up, and I think you're going to see these beautiful, I'll let you be surprised, beautiful note cards. So the note cards were made by the students. They want you to be happy and enjoy them. And we actually have a video of the students in Mrs. Burton's class talking about the artwork that they created that then they turned into the note cards. So at this time, we would like to show you this darling student video. And please enjoy the note cards. Thank you.
Christina, we can't hear it. I think you have to unmute your microphone.
That's it. Thank you.
In this painting, we used white acrylic paint, and then we like made branches to make negative space, and then we drew all these little designs and patterns inside.
Fantastic. Thanks, Savannah.
This was a very fun thing to do. You could like put the marker on it and then use water paint with it and stuff. And, yeah, it was really fun. And I don't know. I really like doing this stuff because I love doing art and stuff like that. So I like this.
So, Sophia, tell us what you liked best about doing your fireworks project.
I liked it to do painting. The green and the blue make stuff together, and you then put a dot, they start moving.
Was it fun to paint on salt? Because the paint was moving across the salt?
Yeah.
Awesome. So what kind of fireworks were those for what holiday? Yeah, we were talking about how they let them off at New Year's Eve, and we all say, what do we say?
Happy New Year!
Okay, Evan, can you tell me what you made? What is that?
I made a snowflake.
Was that the first time you ever cut a snowflake? Was it fun?
Yeah.
What did we do on the back of that? What did we do, remember? Flip it over. What did we do here? Do you remember that white paint? How did we do that?
We stamped.
Yeah, lots and lots, didn't we?
Yeah, that one was really big.
Did you like doing that? Yeah. Are you proud of it, Evan? I'm proud of you. Thumbs up. Thank you.
What my favorite thing about this snowman is it's very colorful, and the thing that you should do always when you're building doing something crafty. Always succeed. It will help you make your project even better.
Thank you.
But the one I like the most is probably like this one. 'Cause I love how like the purple matches the purple. And like the blue goes really good.
Oh, I see. Matched your chalk really well. Yeah. Nice.
And I also like this one, but I kind of messed up on it. But it turns out really good actually.
I think it turned out really good too. I'm really proud of you and thank you for sharing your favorite parts. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Thank you for supporting our school.
And we'd like to thank Mrs. Burton, the art teacher from Sharpsburg, and all of her students.
Those are awesome. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Superintendent Ronan. I know for me, this is a labor of love and the best way that I can thank to serve out my community.
Yes, thank you very much. They are lovely. And I still, from where I'm sitting in my curio cabinet right over here, I still have my lovely vase from last year. I love it.
I think that cute video has got us all
Yeah, that was sweet.
really cute.
All right, we're going to move on to item number 2.02, and this is recognizing our student and staff rising stars.
Thank you, President Atwood. I'm so thrilled to be here tonight to announce January's Rising Star students. First up, we have Norwood High School Rising Star, Malachi Langelier. Norwood High School would like to recognize freshman Malachi Langelier as January's Rising Star. Malachi came to Norwood City Schools as a fourth grader at Norwood at View Elementary. Malachi teachers really love his polite, respectful, and helpful demeanor. His positive attitude and kindness are contagious. He does not shy away from a challenge. As a freshman with an already busy academic and sports schedule, Malachi decided he wanted to be a cellist. As a first-year member of orchestra, Malachi is willing to take direction and develop his skills. Malachi works very hard and is dedicated to his passions, especially football. He works odd jobs to help out and is looking forward to getting a job in the community. Malachi also volunteers at the Cincinnati Zoo. He loves Norwood High School, especially his teachers. He appreciates that they are all different and he feels he can really connect with each and every one of them. He said what he loves most is that the teachers trust and respect their students. He said he owes all of his success to his mother. Respect, manners, and grades are very important, and she pushes him to always do his best. After high school, Malachi plans on attending The Ohio State University, majoring in zoology, or becoming a professional football player. Congratulations, Malachi, on all your accomplishments. Norwood Middle School Rising Star, Colson Krebs. Norwood Middle is proud to announce Colson Krebs as the Rising Star this month. Colson is a funny and loving student at the middle school. You always know when Colson is in the school because he's the first to greet staff and students, and he always makes conversation with whomever he meets. He brings such positive energy to the hallways and classrooms in the middle school. Colson is a great student who takes pride in working hard and earning good grades. Colson has become a leader on the 8th grade basketball team. He is someone that his coaches and teammates can count on every day. Coach Jack Zimmerman says, Colson has proven to be somebody who truly wants to be a leader and an example for his peers. His leadership has led him gaining respect from all of his teammates, coaches, and opponents. Congratulations, Colson. Sharpsburg Rising Star, Ella Stewart. Sharpsburg is proud to recognize Ella Stewart this month. Ella is a great role model to the second grade group this year. She is a hard worker and is ready to come to school to learn. She has done an excellent job completing her online work and attending our meetings each week. Each day, Ella has a bright smile on her face and brings a positive attitude even when things become difficult. She puts in the effort and continues to try even harder the next time. Mrs. Williams attempts to give Ella tricky math problems, but she always figures them out. She is a math whiz. It is also exciting to see how much she enjoys reading this year, and you can often find her asking Mrs. Williams for new books to read. Her laugh is contagious, and she simply brightens your day. Ella is a great friend to her peers and is an amazing little gymnast. Keep up the good work, Ella. Norwood View Rising Star, Dylan Leverance Klein-Tank. Norwood View is proud to announce sixth grader Dylan Leverance Klein-Tank as the rising star for the month of January. Dylan enjoys reading books so much that his favorite subject is reading. Presently, he is working on reading the last book in the month in his most recent favorite series. Dylan's interests outside of school include playing video games with all his friends. His dream is to become a video game designer in the future. When asked why he is a successful student, Dylan responded by saying he completes his work on time and consistently does his best on his assignments. While that is very true, Dylan was also chosen as Norwood View Rising Star because of his participation both in class and in his Google Meets, as well as for the respectful way he treats other people. While we will miss Dylan next year, we are excited to see what the future holds for him. Congratulations, Dylan. Williams Avenue Elementary Rising Star, Liam Bratton. The Rising Star this month for Williams Avenue Elementary is third grader Liam Bratton. Liam is a role model in the classroom. He comes to school each day with a smile on his face, ready for the day. He always puts forth his best effort. Liam is very willing to answer questions and participate in class discussion. He also completes all of his online learning assignments. Liam is also a kind friend to all students in the classroom and on the playground. Whenever someone needs a friend, they can count on Liam. Liam says the best thing about Williams Avenue Elementary are his friends and teachers. His favorite subject is math, which will serve him well as he would like to be a building engineer when he grows up. After school, Liam attends Avenues for Success, where he continues to be a great role model for his peers. Outside of school, Liam enjoys playing basketball, baseball, football, and video games. Congratulations, Liam. Norwood Virtual Program Rising Star, Carrie Rarica. The Norwood Virtual Program is proud to announce seventh grader Carrie Rarica as the Rising Star this month. Carrie is a very conscientious young lady. She attends all Google Meets, even if she's already mastered the content included in her 6 online courses. Carrie does this because she wants to make sure she takes every opportunity to learn. She has submitted excellent projects this year. For example, in science, Carrie completed a water cycle project that included photographs, drawings, diagrams, and thorough explanations. Her attention to detail has been evident throughout the course. Her teachers are very proud of her dedication and ability to problem solve throughout the semester. She has embraced the challenge of online learning. Congratulations, Carrie. And finally, our District Rising Star Aide, Amy Truesdell. Amy Truesdell is a delightful addition to our Norwood Middle School team. Her student focus and caring is contagious. She readily steps up to the plate, providing assistance to students who are struggling learning remotely. She is a dedicated and devoted student aide in the classrooms day in and day out. She does it all with the wit, wisdom, love, and humor. You can certainly tell she is a former elementary teacher. For all these reasons and more, we honor and recognize Amy Truesdell as the District Rising Star Aide for the month of January. I'm so thrilled to announce all of those rising stars and just so pleased and honored to share this with all of you tonight. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mrs. Chesson. That's one of the things that I miss the most, I think, about going virtual, is not being able to see all these people and their families and congratulate them in person. But a big congratulations to this month's Rising Stars. All right, we're going to move on to item number 8, which is the item that we moved in our agenda, and this is public content. To further improve the communication between the community and the board, time shall be allocated at each regular or special board meeting to hear public and representatives of school-related organizations. Public participation at committee meeting is limited to those invited to speak on specific issues. Each person addressing the board should fill out a form listing name, address, and the agenda or non-agenda item and hand that form in. Each speaker will have 5 minutes to address the board. No more than 15 minutes will be devoted to any one topic unless a majority of the board votes to continue the discussion. Speakers may offer such objective criticism of school operations as concerns them. However, the board will not hear personnel complaints of school personnel or complaints against any persons connected with the district. Those concerns and comments about individuals should be brought to the attention of the administration, and this was approved by the board on January 17th, 2019. With that, we did receive one email to our public participation email address. I will go ahead and read that email. This email comes from Mr. Sam Young, and he writes, "Hello, I'm contacting you all as I was hoping to put a bug in your ear regarding an upcoming decision regarding going virtual or not. I know that it will be a controversial decision and a tough one at that, and I know that the decision will be based in the safety of the students and staff. I just wanted to say that if we did happen to go all virtual, I know many students, like myself, won't be able to do well in that setting just like last year. There are students currently who are struggling with virtual or are coming to end class because that is what they need. I'm sure there's more precautions set in place for prevention of disease spreading. Then we will not have to worry about going virtual. I just don't want to see the rest of many students' year, same as mine, to come to an end because of something out of our control." And that was signed a senior, Mr. Sam Young. With that, we're going to move on to the Education Committee report, and I will turn it over to Board Member Mrs. Raber.
So I believe we are going to hear an update from the DART team to kind of see where things are standing right now. Is that correct from Mrs. Ronan?
That is correct. Actually, Sally, if you wouldn't mind, I was going to go over the communication that we sent home to families and parents and then add what the governor said today to give a quick update. All right. So everyone, I think, knows last Thursday, the governor designated Hamilton County in the purple since we had been that red with a star for 2 weeks. But I think everyone knows that this is certainly a different purple than last spring. You know, the governor said he's not shutting down schools or businesses, and that it appears that this purple is driven by hospitals, ICU beds, emergency room visits, and not the schools. So today, the governor actually said the numbers have come down a bit, but he said they have flattened out, but are still higher than we want them to be. However, the governor still says and suggests that we all look at the local data, the number of cases in your local schools, how your local plan is working out for students, and then make a local decision. So as everyone knows, we have been operating on a hybrid schedule since August 24th. Certainly not perfect, but it's kept instruction going, interaction between students and teachers. And I think all of our thinking has evolved since last summer. I think everyone realizes schools are safe. It's a very structured environment with little or no spread. So now what's happening is all the superintendents in the state were asked in the past week, in fact, 3 different times, we're signing up our staffs to get the vaccine. So the Ohio Department of Health and the governor's office want to ensure that there's in-person instruction, either part or full time, to receive the early vaccine in phase 1. And the governor said that this was today, that February 1st is the start for vaccinating group 1B, which includes all members of the school staff. So it would be unfortunate to have our schools shut down just as staff members are scheduled to receive the vaccine, which will put us at odds with the Ohio Department of Health and could even delay our staff getting the vaccine. The governor said at Tuesday's press conference that 96% of the school districts in the state have committed to be in person, either full or part-time. That's 96% of the districts. So Norwood is certainly in line with all the other districts in the state of Ohio. And Governor DeWine repeated today that vaccines for the school personnel will start February 1st, which is about 10 days from now. The good news in Hamilton, in addition to getting information about Hamilton County, you know, we've got our great Norwood Health Department who truly have been wonderful to work with. They review data, they answer questions for us. And each Friday, the Data Assessment of Risk Team, or DART for short, meets and looks at the numbers for Norwood, our zip codes, and the information from the Norwood Health Department. So this is the graph. And what's shocking when we look at this is from January 15th, which was last Friday. We're going to be looking at the data again tomorrow. Our positive cases were a lot higher back in November when we were in the red than they are today. So I think we all were very surprised to see that. That's when our bump in Norwood was, and not today. We have not seen student-to-student spread in any of our schools this year because of masks, the 6 feet of distancing, the plexiglass shields. So we are recommending that we stay the course in the hybrid model, have our staff receive the vaccine starting February 1, and eventually return our students to the classroom full-time. So in conclusion, the recommendations from the Norwood Data Assessment of Risk, or DART team, would be to revise the back-to-school plan to keep our schools in a hybrid model in both the red and purple levels, unless the governor or the Ohio Department of Health or the Norwood Department of Health or our DART team would direct us otherwise after looking at the data. So that concludes the DART team's recommendations. Thank you. And we also have Nurse Strasser here if there were any other questions.
Thank you for that update. So I think given that presentation, I will make a motion to revise the back to school plan to be on the hybrid schedule at both red and purple levels, unless otherwise directed, as Mrs. Ronan stated, by the governor or the Department of Health, or on the recommendation of our DART team.
I'll second that. Is there any discussion on this move and revision to our plan? Or any questions?
I do have a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
Would this go in line with what the governor was asking about returning on March 1st, since that's a Monday? Or do we want to leave that to the DART team to be flexible based on how many teachers get shots and what our COVID numbers look like at that time?
I'm not sure.
Are we deciding on a date to go back full time? Are we shooting for the governor's goal of March 1st at this
No.
time? Or are
No.
we waiting for further clarification?
No, that's not the recommendation. We will remain hybrid.
Okay.
The governor did say we're going to start vaccinations February 1st, but he's also aware not every district is going to get it right away. So by March 1st,
Right.
we still may have staff members, and I think there will be a lot of districts who are still getting the vaccine. So that March 1st date, I do not believe is a hard date, just due to the slow rollout of the vaccines. The recommendation was to stay hybrid and continue on until the DART team makes another recommendation, which could be next month or months from now. We just don't know.
Any other questions or discussion?
I was just going to say, being on the DART team, it's been wonderful to see the numbers and the charts, and very reassuring to see how very few cases we have now compared to November. November was downright scary looking at our charts, and we have many, many fewer. And also, I feel on another note that it's almost not prudent to go virtual unless our federal or state government pays parents to stay home.
It's a good point, Alice.
I mean, it's hard enough for them to do hybrid. I mean, I would love to have virtual, but if government isn't going to work with us on that, then I can't have what I want.
Is it safe to say, so Mary, you said that, while the goal is to start vaccinating teachers February 1st, not all districts may get it. So that's why we don't want to commit to the March 1st as a return to school full time. Is it safe to say that from, once our teachers have had both doses of the vaccine, is that our thought here that we will be returning back to school 5 days at that point?
Yes, I believe the DART team would then make that recommendation, but obviously we would meet and we'd bring that back as a whole team recommendation.
Okay.
But I believe that's the direction we're moving in.
Okay.
So here's my frustration with what's become of the state's color coding system. So the state updated its data today that the DART team's going to take a look at tomorrow. And the way the color coding system works is that if you reach 6 or 7 indicators, you're in the purple category, right? 4 or 5 indicators, you're red. 2 or 3 indicators, you're orange. And then if you only have 1 indicator, you're yellow. But if you look at the data on the state's website today, Hamilton County is still considered purple for the next week. But if you drill down into it, this week, we only met 3 out of the 7 indicators, which means that really we should be orange right now, and we're not. And for whatever reason, the state still has us at purple, which I can't get anybody to tell me or explain to me why that's the case. So I agree with the recommendation from the DART team that, as we're still red or purple, to remain hybrid, continuing to monitor to the data, especially while we're going through this process of getting our staff members through the early vaccination period.
And is this a good time to say, we're super excited about vaccinations?
I know I'll be talking a little bit more about them later, Alice, as well. So.
All All right, any other discussion on this or any questions that anybody has for either Superintendent Ronan or our district nurse that's on this call? All right, so we have a motion. No, go ahead, Alice.
I was just going to ask to clarify. I've seen this March 1st thing too from the governor. And just to clarify, does it say that he wants everybody full-time by then? Because I think I might have seen that it says full-time or hybrid, or was that something else?
Yes, it can either be full or part-time.
That's what I thought. And some people do see that thing and think that he wants us all to be full-time by March 1st. And I'm like, I'm pretty sure he doesn't.
No, the hybrid model works. It's just that if you're all virtual, I believe those districts are being moved to the end of the line for any vaccines, which makes sense because if their teachers aren't at school, they really should let the teachers who are teaching children in person get ahead. So, yes.
Right. So I wanted to clarify that we're already on the right path.
We're on the right path.
Going towards some goal. We're already there.
It's just, I don't think everyone will be vaccinated by March 1st. It seems unrealistic at the moment.
All right, so we have a motion on the table to revise the plan that's been seconded. I believe we've asked our questions and had our discussion. Any further discussion? One more time. No, Mrs. Camphouse, please call the roll.
Mr. Atwood,
Yes.
Ms. Ballard,
Yes.
Mrs. Cole,
Yes.
Mrs. Raber,
Yes.
Mrs. Rarica.
Yes.
With that, the motion passes and our back to school plan has been revised to have the red and purple color designations via a hybrid instruction model for us. All right, moving on to item number 4 in our agenda. This is personnel, and I'll turn this over to Superintendent Ronan.
Oh, thank you, President Atwood. Our first item is our athletic director, Alex Hines, I hate to announce, will be leaving us in June to go back to Wisconsin. And I do want to thank Alex. He has been wonderful keeping our sports program going in the middle of the pandemic without a lot of issues. So we're all going to miss him. He will be with us until June, finishing out the year, but we will have to start the search for a new athletic director for next school year. So thank you, Alex, for all that you've done for Norwood. We really, really appreciate it. Yeah. Now, let's see. There are a few other items under employment. Kevin Lockwood is going to be our jazz band director, and we have 2 club advisors in Avenues for Success, Melissa O'Connor and Katie Ostendorf. Then I'm going to stop there and let our Aide go over all the coaching positions that he is recommending for hire. Plus, Alex, if you'd like to say a few words, that would be wonderful too. Sure. So, Alex.
So I'll start number 3 for athletics. Reed Faraday for girls varsity track, Sean Weisgerber for middle school girls track, and Nate Hale for varsity assistant baseball coach. And then if you move down to number 5, Stephen Bosch for varsity baseball, Tracy Wharf for varsity softball, Patrick Manley for varsity assistant softball. Hannah and Tanya Woodruff are going to split the supplemental for reserve softball. Reagan Rains for the middle school assistant softball. Adam Reynolds for middle school boys track. Doug Ayers for middle school softball. And Christian Compton for spring weight room. And I believe that is all of them. And I just want to thank everyone for allowing me to be the athletic director of Norwood. It's been an honor. This definitely was not a part of our plan. It was something that came about and something that my wife, her job, she couldn't turn down. But it's been an honor. I love being here and I love everybody. But the next 5 months, we'll make sure to get ready for the next athletic director to make sure that he or she hits the ground running. but it'll be very hard to leave, and it's hard right now to even talk about it, but I just want to thank everyone for the last 3 years.
Well, Alex, I just want to thank you for all the hard work and dedication, especially through the last year. I mean, this isn't easy for anybody trying to navigate an athletic program in the midst of a worldwide pandemic. But your dedication and your work is greatly appreciated. We are going to miss you. And then anything that you need from me, I mean, just don't hesitate to reach out.
Thank you.
We're happy for you and your wife. We're sad for us.
Alex, interviewing you and helping get you onto the Norwood team was one of the best things that I've been able to do in my time here on the board. I'm so glad that you got to be a part of the Norwood family for as long as you have. We're proud of you, and we're excited for your next chapter.
Thank you.
All right, with that, so I would like to make a motion that we approve of the resignations in 4.01 and also approve the employment recommendations in 4.02. Can I get a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion?
I don't want to approve it.
You can always vote no.
Does that mean he has to stay?
Ooh.
All right, Mrs. Camphouse, please call the roll.
Mr. Atwood,
Yes.
Miss Ballard,
Begrudgingly, yes.
Mrs. Cole,
Yes.
Mrs. Raber,
Yes.
Mrs. Rarica.
Yes. Yes.
All right, with that, the recommendations and acceptance is passed, and we'll move on to item number 5 in our agenda, which is the policy committee report, and I'll hand it over to board member Mrs. Rarica.
Get myself unmuted and get my little doodah up here. This evening, we have a second reading of our policies and regulations. We have our executive sessions, BDC, bonded employees and officers, DH, cash exchange balances, DJB, purchasing procedures, DJF and its regulation, deposit of public funds, DM, computer online, EDE and its regulation and exhibit. I motion to approve these new policies and revisions of policies and regulations and exhibits.
All right, we have a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion of these? I'll just say that this is the second reading, so we've been discussing these policies and these revision changes for the past month. There have been no one to come forward to ask us to take another look at these revisions. Most of them are purely just revising slight verbiage changes or the Ohio Revised Code that has made a change. So I don't see any issues with these. So these are the second reading and the approval. Mrs. Camphouse, please call the roll.
Mr. Atwood,
Yes.
Miss Ballard,
Yes.
Mrs. Cole,
Yes.
Mrs. Raber,
Yes.
Mrs. Rarica.
Yes.
All right, with that passes, all of the policies are now fully adopted and become part of our policy manual. And we'll be ready for the next batch. All right, item number 6 on our agenda is the Building and Grounds Committee report, and I'll hand it over to board member Mrs. Cole.
Thank you, Mr. President. So we have 4 requests for facility usage this month. So the first one, and these are all attached in the same document on our agenda. So the first one is St. Xavier High School water polo team. They're requesting our Norwood High School pool for practice 5 nights a week from March 29th to April 21st, Monday through Friday only, from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. That's level D. Number 2, we have the Cincinnati Mavericks girls water polo team, also requesting the Norwood High School pool for practice 2 nights a week from March 1st until May 22nd. So the exact days are to be determined, but it would be weeknights only from 4 to 6 p.m. and that's level E. And that is the same requester, by the way, from the St. Xavier High School water polo team. Number 3 is the Greater Cincinnati Volleyball Club. They're requesting the high school or the middle school gym Tuesdays and Thursdays in February. Their times are flexible due to the availability of the facilities, and that's a level C request. And lastly, Moeller High School football and soccer teams are requesting Shea Stadium for games, dates to be determined, and that's also a level D request. So I would like to make a motion that we approve these facility requests.
I'll second. All right, is there any discussion on these? So I will say for St. Xavier's request, this is due to the fact that, that St. X is completely redoing Keating Natatorium. So that facility for St. X is completely unavailable. Now, I've been told that way back in the day, St. X used to use our swimming pool for practices, and I believe the Marlins did as well. And then
The Mavericks.
no, the swim team. The Mavericks is the water polo team, but the Cincinnati Marlins is St. X's club team. For item number 3, Greater Cincinnati Volleyball Club, this is the club level team that's actually coached by one of our high school volleyball coaches, John Burling. And so this is a great opportunity for feeder program for our middle school and high school girls to get some club level work in outside of the high school season. I think this is a great opportunity. And then Moeller High School wanting to use our stadium for some of their football and soccer games. I think this is pretty exciting. However, the only thing that I have, and this can completely change by next fall, is, I know Moeller attends quite well, so they could expect to see a few thousand people. So my question would be to Mr. Hines, has there been any discussion about that in case things haven't lifted by then?
Yeah, so any sort of regulations that we have to follow from either the state or the health department, they will follow as well. So just like this fall, we were only allowed 15%. So obviously, if we get to that point, they would only be allowed to have that many as well.
Okay.
If we don't have anything, I know that they said they expect between 3,000 and 4,000 for each game. There's 4 games, and so it'll be very full.
Gotcha. Well, I don't have any reservations about doing it. I just want to make sure that the conversation about it occurred.
Yep.
Any other questions, comments, discussion? Mrs. Camphouse, please call the roll.
Mr. Atwood,
Yes.
Miss Ballard,
Yes.
Mrs. Cole,
Yes.
Mrs. Raber,
Yes.
Mrs. Rarica.
Yes.
All right, with that, the facility use request passes, and we'll move on to the Finance Committee report, and I'll turn it over to our District Treasurer, Mrs. Camphouse.
Thank you, Mr. President. Finance Committee members have set a meeting time for our monthly meeting, and we will start in February. I anticipate some good conversations with our new committee members, Vice President Ballard and Board Member Rarica. On the agenda, financials for December are attached for your review and the approval, along with the CFO report and change order listings. 7.02, Appropriation Resolution, our current budget for the year. 7.03, a new account. You're approving the account, the receipt of funds, and the appropriation for CARES funding from Hamilton County Commissioners. We appreciate the Commissioners sharing their unused CARES funding and appreciate their support of public education. 7.04, then and now purchase orders for board approval. 7.05, an amendment to SHP's contract to include the additional scope of the high school loading dock and updated cafeteria design and new equipment. And there is a vote box if it pleases the board for 7.01 through 7.05.
I'd like to make a motion that we approve 7.01 through 7.05 as discussed.
Second.
I'll second.
Any discussion? Camp House, please call the roll.
Julie, do you have? I'm
Oh,
sorry,
go ahead.
Brandon.
No, go ahead.
Julie, do you have a copy of the design changed for what the cafeteria will projected to look like once they're finished that you could send us?
It's still fluid because that hasn't gone out to bid yet, but we didn't have any design changes. We didn't have any design changes at all in the original scopes. That's why we're adding it so that we can develop a new design.
Okay,
but yes,
thank
when
you.
we get it, I can certainly share it.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Any other questions? Mrs. Camp House, please call the roll.
Mr. Atwood,
Yes.
Ms. Ballard,
Yes.
Mrs. Cole,
Yes.
Mrs. Raber,
Yes.
Mrs. Rarica.
Yes.
Thank you. And 7.06, the notice to proceed and the A1A contract for Kramer Feldman, the lowest bidder on our Williams renovation project, for your approval.
I'd like to motion to approve the bid contract for Williams Avenue Elementary construction.
I'll second.
Any discussion on this?
Do we have a projected start date for this project once it's approved?
We need to get the children moved out. So it's the plan to get all the moves starting in May. So I would assume June for the start date of the construction.
So we're not waiting for the end of the school year?
Yes, it would be further on in June. Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's right. We have a later start. No, that's next year that we have a later start.
Next year's later, yeah.
It'll be June.
So as soon as the children get moved, as soon as their stuff gets moved, as soon as the desks get moved, then we'll start.
Sounds good.
Our last elementary.
We are nearing the end of this journey.
Yes.
Any other questions?
Labor of love.
discussion? Yeah, that's right. Mrs. Camp House, please call the roll.
Mr. Atwood,
Yes.
Ms. Ballard,
Yes.
Mrs. Cole,
Yes.
Mrs. Raber,
Yes.
Mrs. Rarica.
Yes.
That includes finance.
All right, thank you. With that, that passes. Since we've already moved section 8 to earlier in the meeting, we'll go down to section number 9, which is our report section. 9.01 is board announcements, and I know that there are a couple of those. Amber, do you want to go first?
I can. That's not a problem. All right. So a lot of people have been asking a lot of questions about COVID-19 vaccinations. I'm actually in training to be one of the people who can administer them. I work for Walgreens as a pharmacy technician, and we're doing a lot of the nursing home clinics currently. And I got my second one today, so I'm good to go. And there's always rumors about whether the shot works or whether they should get it or what the side effects are and, you know, what the process is. So I wanted to kind of go through just a brief explanation of what the shot is and, you know, how you can get it. And I have some resources here to get folks started on that process so that we can get people vaccinated quickly. I know that the 1B list is set to go out on the 1st of February. And I will tell you that a lot of the places right now that, like mine, that are doing clinics, once those shots are open, we have to use them. So our own health department and several clinics like Walgreens or Kroger, CVS, whoever is doing a clinic, they will have priority lists. So that way your patients can get that shot sooner rather than later, because, hey, at the end of the day, they might have 5 or 6 shots left and they don't want them to be wasted. So teachers being on the 1B list can be added to those lists. So what I'm going to go over with you real quick, the shot that most of the teachers are going to be getting if they go through our Norwood Health Department are going to be the Moderna vaccine. And the Moderna vaccine is a 2-shot series, so is the Pfizer. The difference is the Moderna vaccine is 2 shots that are 28 days apart. So if you get added to a list and you get it on the 1st, your follow-up date, you would need to get on the 28th. You can't get it any sooner. You can get it a few days later if that doesn't quite work out with when the second shot is available. Vaccine, which is the one I have, it's a 21-day gap. So I got mine on the 31st. I got my follow-up today. The difference in medication, the Pfizer vaccine is 0.3 milliliters. And it uses a diluent, so it's a very small amount that goes into your arm. It doesn't hurt, a little bit sore afterwards, like a flu shot. It's very similar. Some people have said they've had symptoms similar to a flu shot, where they might spike a fever for 1 day and then it's gone. They have a sore arm, maybe some redness at the injection site. So typical injection reactions. This shot is designed to train your body through what's called mRNA. And it has a spike protein that teaches your cells how to recognize one of the spikes in COVID so that it can create a response if you actually get exposed to COVID, and it'll react quickly. So it's similar to your cells how to react appropriately once it engages. That's why you need 2 in the series. So similar to a shingles shot or how you get your flu shot every single year, this shot, you need it twice because you want to introduce it, and then you kind of want to test it to make sure your body is going to react once you have that. The shots have been found to have a 95% efficacy rate, which means that the shot itself is really, really effective at preventing COVID-19 from known strains. It may or may not protect against the ones that are now spreading in Europe. However, it has been very effective here in the US for the strains that we have currently. So with that 95% efficacy rate, that is higher than pretty much any shot that you get already. So your tetanus shot, your flu shot, your shingle shot, those don't even have a 95% efficacy rate, and they're very well known. These shots have been tested, and I understand that some people will argue, well, it's not FDA approved. Well, it can't be because it was a short timeline from its creation. So this shot got fast-tracked as an emergency, which gave it its approval. It is not approved for children. They are doing testing at several different sites across the country to make a version or test a version that is safe for children. But at this time, children have the lowest risk in the population of spreading. But we have to protect our older adults, our more vulnerable populations, our children with immune suppressed disorders, our teachers. You know, we're shorthanded on subs, and that's everybody's fight. So we want to make sure that our teachers get this vaccine when it's available. So like I was telling you before, you can go through our health department. If you call them through our health department at Norwood, as a teacher, you can get added to their list. And if they have a shot available, they'll start calling down that list and they'll get you going now, even if it's not February 1st, because they are currently doing 1A, which is first responders, and 1B, which is our older populations, high risk, and teachers. So again, get on that waiting list. When they have a shot available, they'll call you. And that way you can go ahead and be done by mid-February, because we would love to see our kids back in school full time. And in order to do that, we really need to reach a herd immunity number. And we want that number to be pretty high. So I know that some people will say 60% is good enough for herd immunity. Others from the CDC have said that 80 to 90 is better for herd immunity. And since we do have children with vulnerable populations, teachers who might have health issues, definitely parents at home that we want to keep safe, I'd really love to see our teachers step up. I know many of our board members have also stepped up to get their shot as well, including our superintendent. So your leadership team is stepping forward and saying, hey, this is something we want to see. We've added some incentives for our teachers to make sure this is something that's positive. We want you guys to be safe and we want our students back. And in order to do that most effectively, we need you to get that vaccine. It's not mandatory. We cannot mandate something like that. Obviously, some people cannot take certain vaccines if they have an aversion to those things. And I won't ask people to do that. I will ask people to truly think about working in a safe environment and doing what's best for their community. In other resources, if you can't get to our health department, here is a phone number. It's very easy. I wrote it down so I can zoom in. 584-DOSE, and that is the number for UC Health Clinic to get on their list. That is another resource option. If for anyone in the community, just our teacher in another district, you can call UC Health and talk to them. And the other resource that I'm going to give you, this is the main website for the entire state. This is vaccine-coronavirus.ohio.gov. That's vaccine.coronavirus.ohio.gov. So if you need that website, you can get a list of providers in your area, somebody maybe close to your work that might be more convenient, that type of thing. This will give you an active list of who has vaccine available and who has a clinic being offered soon. So I hope those resources help you if you have questions, or to our nurse. She will get you signed up. She'll get you on our list, and we'll make sure we get you entered for those incentives. And, you know, we want to see everybody back and we want to see everybody safe. So thank you.
All right. Thank you, Vice President Ballard, for that. I also believe in leading by example, and the soonest opportunity I have to participate in the vaccine program, I plan on taking advantage of that. So, any other board announcements? You have one, Alice?
Well, I was going to say, there was one thing I forgot to say when we were talking about DART and purple, was that we originally thought we would need to put the flu data in all of our studying. And it turned out there wasn't any flu data, which is, I think, super exciting. Because we've been doing what we've been doing, we didn't have a huge influx of the flu this year. So that's kind of amazing and helpful to this whole going purple and staying hybrid thing. But also I wanted to say it's really important, everybody encourage your students to eat breakfast and take lunch at school and get those take-home lunches. And we've been making a list of people to deliver to, because it's really hard if you're at work to go get those lunches. And Amber's helped me out, and another parent, Candace Winterbauer, has helped, and we've been delivering those lunches. So, woo, hope your school take the lunch and the breakfast when you're at school, and the take home, both. And that's it.
Thank you, Mrs. Rarica. Any other board announcements? I know I have one. This isn't a common announcement. Typically, we don't do this, but I'm going to preview just a little bit of some of our work that's going to happen in February. The reason for doing this is because it's a little bit time critical, and it's not common with what we're going to do next month. One of the activities that we're going to take part in. So as a board, we're going to be discussing a resolution in February to oppose the parole of Gordon Franklin. And so anybody who knows Danielle Franklin and that whole situation, Her father is up for parole on February 27th. And so individually, we can all send letters. But if we pass a resolution opposing the parole, that carries much more weight than just sending letters. So, and I think that's important.
Brandon, in order to give our prosecution a little bit more time to collect those types of letters, would we be able to have a special board meeting a little earlier in the month, or maybe at our committee meeting? So
I
that
think we
can
could
go
do
ahead
that.
and submit that to give the prosecution more time?
I think we could, yeah. I wouldn't be opposed to that.
Yeah, morning.
All right.
Is anyone here not familiar with it? I just wasn't sure if everybody here knew about what this was, or what we would be talking about. I just wanted to see if anybody had questions.
Unfortunately, we're aware.
Okay.
I was going to say, I've worked with Danielle's mom when we were passing out the dresses, and named it after Danielle. And
Yeah.
I know that she would be extremely appreciative of this. And just that anytime anyone remembers Danielle, she's just so grateful for that.
Yeah, I would like to see it added to our committee meeting as a special edition, please.
I think we can make that happen. All right, we'll move on to Superintendent's report. Mrs. Ronan.
Thank you. I hope you don't mind. I would like to go over the construction moves again. I know we talked about it at the committee meeting, but I just want to make sure that everyone in the community and the parents are all very clear on all the moves that are happening this spring and summer. So I thought I'd just go over the 2 slides that we talked about at the committee meeting. We are opening our health center. It says February, but it's probably going to be the beginning of March, because we did have a 3-week electrical delay for inspections and such, which has slowed that down. So we are excited. Beginning of March, I want to thank Interact for Health that made all of this possible. And Centerpoint Health is our partner for the medical and dental services that we're going to have. Then Norwood View will be moving back to their renovated building in June. I think this is what Amber, Vice President Ballard, was asking earlier. Hopefully we can get that scheduled very early in June, so they move out of the middle school. Of course, it will require some, cleaning and polishing of the floors in the middle school. And then we've got Williams slated to move in probably the end of June, beginning of July. In addition to the school moving, the administrative offices will also be moving out of Williams School. And we are looking for space on the high school campus and at Sharpsburg. Then Norwood High School, the renovation continues. This will be year 2. So that will impact some of the summer programming at the high school. Then I just wanted to make sure everyone's clear that the 6th graders at Norwood View, Williams, and Sharpsburg will be joining the middle school on a 6th grade team. It'll be a separate 6th grade team, but they will be housed at the middle school. There is a planning team of teachers and administrators. We have met. We've talked about what kind of parent communication we need to do. So the work is ongoing, looking at scheduling to see how we can allow our 6th graders to take advantage of things like orchestra, band, and many of the other opportunities on the high school, middle school campus. But it's going to take some logistical scheduling. And we will continue to meet the rest of the year to make sure that goes smoothly. And then there also has to be a transition team for the move of Williams to the middle school. But I feel confident since the move went so smoothly last year with Norwood View, the Williams team, I'm sure, will take a lot of advice and ideas from that move and make sure that it goes smoothly. But we do want everyone to realize there are a lot of moves occurring this spring and this summer. So thank you.
I had a question about that. Are there plans to add a preschool to View when they've moved back in?
Yes, there's 2 at Sharpsburg right now. We are going to move one of those over to the View to make sure that they have one. That way we'll have one in all of our buildings.
That's great.
All right, thank you, Superintendent Ronan. We'll move on to the Great Oaks report, and I'd like to hand it over to Vice President Ballard.
Thank you, Mr. President. For January, just like with ours, we have new committee appointments. I have been added to 3 different committees this year instead of 2. So I'm looking forward to that increase in responsibility there. I'm remaining on the Diversity and Equity Committee. I'll be adding to Planning and Policy Committee and the Salary and Benefits. And I think joining Julie's team and being on the Salary Committee at Great Oaks will be a very good pairing and very educational for me, learning that aspect this year. This Saturday, in partnering with the Diversity and Equity Committee, OSBA's Black Caucus is holding their first 2021 meeting virtually. And my colleague from North College Hill, Mr. Al Long, he'll be the new chairperson for the Black Caucus. So I'll be attending that virtual meeting on Saturday. We did have a student spotlight featured from one of our Norwood students. His name is Davon Thomas, and he's in our auto refinishing program and he was awarded the Scarlet Citizenship Award. So I want to congratulate Davon Thomas on that award. We have also updated, I told folks last month about the updates to our fire program. This month, the update came from our firing range. So for students interested or adults interested in firearms training for like police training, we got our construction finished for our brand new firing range area. And lastly, for Scarlet, our open house this year will be virtual. There was an unfortunately already done for tonight, but on Thursday, January 28th, 30 to 7, there will open house for anyone interested in attending Scarlet Oaks or looking at their programming. If you go to the website at greatoaks.com, you can also look for the other buildings because some of our students may choose to go to Diamond Oaks, which is a little bit more west side, but it's about as far away. They have some different programmings available than Scarlet, so you can go to either of those locations. And that concludes my report.
Thank you, Vice President Ballard. I'd like to now turn to the OSBA Legislative Liaison report and hand this over to Board Member Mrs. Raber.
Thank you. So unfortunately, the thing that we were all waiting for was the, a new funding formula. Despite being passed by the House, the Senate did not vote on it before the end of the year. Hopefully they will consider it during the 134th General Assembly. They said they wanted to look deeper into the financial impacts of the bill. So we'll obviously be looking for that. And then Governor DeWine did sign House Bill 409, which amongst other things said that there would be no state report card for the 2020 and 2021 school year. And then establishes a safe harbor from any penalties or sanctions that would be based on the absence of the state report card, which is very good news. So the highlights that I have for this month.
So I do have a question, and maybe this is premature or too early, but are we planning on state testing in the spring in light of this?
Yes, currently state testing is a go for the spring. We have schedules in place. They've made some extension to some of our state testing that starts as early as February for our English language students, and our alternately assessed students. So they've extended the windows for that. So I would imagine they'll do the same for the end of course exams in the spring, but everything right now is still a go for the springtime. Yes.
Okay. I just don't know what they're expecting to get across the state, because you have school districts that up until now, now 96% is trying to do something in person. But before the rollout of the vaccine program, I mean, you have districts that were all over the map. I mean, I don't know what they're hoping to get data-wise. It's going to be all over the map.
State testing isn't something that they give up willingly at the State Department, so they'll try as best they can to see that through for us. So I'm not sure what they expect to get collectively on behalf of Ohio either. It will be a mixed bag throughout the state, I'm sure.
Thank you, Mrs. Raber. Anything else on the legislative side?
That was all I had.
Thank you. And finally, our last report is their avenues for success. And I'd like to turn this over to board member Mrs. Rarica.
Okay, my report from Laura Ferguson on avenues for success is that all 5 after-school programs now have virtual homework help available. Middle school and high school has open enrollment, and elementary is teacher referral, and the spaces are limited. The next thing is that we are currently working on a QR code for advertising. And under the directions of Tri-State Foundation and Avenues for Success staff, our students have completed the following in our math reading tutoring program: over 20,000 math problems, over 10,000 reading assignments, and we are very proud of their success. And we have added several new subs to our middle school and high school programming. We'll be announcing a new incentive program to bolster attendance. And that's all.
Thank you, Mrs. Rarica. That is it for the reports. Next item on our agenda is
Community Television. Norwood Community Television.
Oh, you are correct. I completely skipped that, and I apologize. I completely missed that. That one was on me. Norwood Community Television report, board member Mrs. Cole.
All right. So we have quite an extensive list here. So NCT, they've been covering wrestling, swimming, and middle school basketball this month. So just as a background, many of you know that there's now like a subscription that you can purchase to watch games from the high school gym and the stadium. So unfortunately, by contract, NCT is no longer allowed to stream those games, but they're streaming what they can. So they're making some improvements there. They're going to be able to cover 2 games at the same time. So they're doing some upgrades there. They've also upgraded their streaming so that everything they do now streams live to YouTube, Facebook, and I guess this is right, Vimeo. I don't really know how to say that. I've never heard of that one. So they're streaming to those now as well. They're getting ready to start their Avenues for Success after school video club. NCT is also working with Mrs. Kabesh's students to produce a podcast. So they're currently building a computer for that. And then Tyler's going to hook everything up and show them how to use that. So they will be doing a podcast. Next week, they are going to shoot a virtual orchestra concert. So that will take place in different segments, and then they're going to stream that all together. So we'll be able to see our orchestra virtually. And that is everything to cover for NCT.
Thank you, Mrs. Cole. I believe that now concludes all the reports, unless I missed another one. We'll move on to item number 10, which is future meeting notification. Our next meetings for the month of February are going to be Tuesday, February 9th, 2021 at 6 p.m. Looks like we're going to have a special meeting on that same day, immediately following our committee meeting. And then our regular board meeting on Thursday, February 18th at 6 p.m. Locations are both to be determined, but I believe at this point they'll still be virtual. Can I get a motion to approve future meetings?
I'll motion.
I'll second.
Any discussion? Mrs. Camphouse, please call the roll.
Mr. Atwood,
Yes.
Miss Ballard,
Yes.
Mrs. Cole,
Yes.
Mrs. Raper,
Yes.
Mrs. Rarica.
Yes.
With that, those meetings are now set. We have no items removed for separate consideration, so our last item is adjournment. We have a motion to adjourn.
I'll motion.
I'll second.
Any discussion on adjourning? No. Mrs. Camphouse, please call the roll.
Mr. Atwood,
Yes.
Miss Ballard,
Yes.
Mrs. Cole,
Yes.
Mrs. Raper,
Yes.
Mrs. Rarica.
Yes.
With that, it is 7:22 and we are now adjourned. Thank you all for all of your hard work.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good night.
Good night.
Thank you, everyone.